It is Thursday the 31st of January 2019. It's obviously the last day of the month, so what I thought I'd do is update you on a couple of issues that we've had to deal with through the month, both of which involve our animals, the chickens and the goats. This is Cole. She was born 2 years ago, and we decided to keep her. In fact, within the moments of her being born, we decided we were going to keep her. She's a beautiful animal, and last year, rather unexpectedly, she didn't get pregnant. However, this year, oh, thank you very much. This year, we are pretty certain she is pregnant, because she's getting rather big and her udders are starting to develop. So, good news there. And then next to her is Georgina, and she is clearly pregnant, and her babies, I would expect within the next fortnight, should be ready. Now here we have Spot and her baby, who is born earlier this month. I was actually hoping to get some nice video of the baby running around the allotment, but it seems as though I've come at the wrong time, because they are both looking nicely settled. But she is a couple of weeks old now. She's trying to eat things, not very successfully, but she's coming along very well. So as yet we don't have a name for her. This is Daddy here. This is Snow. This is Sonny. He is one of our billy goats. A lovely set of horns on him. Now, to earn his keep, as well as being a bit of a stud, he has a lovely thick coat, as indeed does Perky here as well, one of our other billies, and he was raised by us by hand last year after his mum died. Now, what we're going to do this coming year with these two is we're going to comb out their coats and collect the hair. Last year, Sonny here molted, and I always thought it was a bit of a waste that we didn't bother collecting the hair. Perky here, he was only born last year, so he hasn't molted before, but we think he probably will molt because he's got a similar coat to Sonny here. So we're going to try and collect all the hair. Not entirely sure what we're going to use it for, but it's probably going to be things like cushion, stuffings for cushions and quilts. But also see if it's possible to try and spin it. Come on then. The other issue I want to look at is about our chickens, and this is Houdini here at the front. She is our oldest hen. She is 7.5 years old, so super elderly for a chicken. Still quite happy, still wandering around. But earlier this month, she, along with a number of other hens, had 7 hens in total, appeared to be ill, and sadly 4 of them died. Now, we were rather concerned that 4 went in a short space of time. So we took 2 of the hens that were ill at that point to the vet, and we took the 2 that had died at that point to the vet as well, and the 2 dead ones were sent off to have autopsies done. And back came the reply that they couldn't find anything wrong with the 2 birds that had died. And then shortly after that, the other 2 died, and 3 were ill, but after a few days they recovered, and Houdini was one of them. And we decided that we still needed this to be checked out even further, so the final bird to die was actually sent off to a government lab down in Thirsk, to the, I think it's called the Animal and Plant Health Agency, APHA, and they did an investigation as well, an autopsy, and decided it was worth paying the money for all of this in case there was a problem with our flock, some kind of disease or something they were eating that was poisoning them. And then we discovered from the autopsy, or we were told by the labs down in Thirsk, that what had happened was that they had I think they described it as a compounded crop. In other words, all of the birds that had died were healthy, but they'd had crops that were absolutely stuffed full of feed. And when our vet got back to us, he said the best thing to do is just make sure that they have lots of liquid in their diet, available to them. And what we decided to do was, in their diet, they get a dry mash in the afternoon, which is just oats and bran. We decided, actually, we'll add a lot of water to that bran, to that mash as well, and that seems to have solved the problem. So since then, all the birds the 3 remaining birds that were ill have fully recovered, and we've had no more incidents of illness in the flock. So that is good news. The drawback is that of the ones that died, 4 of the 4 that died, they were all good layers, and sadly our egg numbers are now down to about half what they were previously. But they are just starting to pick up again. So that's the good news out of all of this. But it was a good lesson for us. Make sure that they've got lots of moisture in their feed. This is Freddie, our Barnvelder cockerel, and he had a collar put on earlier in January to stop him from crowing loudly. It doesn't stop him from crowing, it just stops him from crowing loudly, and it's largely worked. There was once when I had to tighten it, and we will be checking it again tonight to make sure that it is still in place properly. It's still around his neck, that we know. We just want to check that it hasn't loosened. This is Rodeo. He's our Rhode Island Red cockerel. Again, another one of the ones hatched last year. So we're only keeping the 2 cockerels, and he hasn't got a collar on yet because he has not crowed yet. But he's not going to like it, but the collar will go onto him tonight and catch him before he even tries to start crowing. But I was listening, I was on here this afternoon feeding the goats, and I could hear Freddie trying to crow. It was a very quiet crow, quieter than our ducks, quieter than our clucking hens. So, if anybody's going to try and argue that the cockerels need to go, I will point out to them that they are not making any significant noise. And they are beautiful birds. If they've got to go, then that means having to kill them. And that's just something I do not want to do. Well, I've just been feeding the goats their hay, and eating hay, and that means the baby has come out. There she is. I was saying a few minutes ago that the number of eggs being laid had dropped. Well, today we've got 10. It's the most we've had in a single day this year. Now, obviously, it's not like the 30 or so we get a day in the mid-spring, but it seems as though a lot of our hens now seem to be coming back online as the days are getting longer.